Cool. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it this morning. It's looking very good for blocking. It's uh
Cool.
it's very nice. We can take a look together, but yeah, it's already you did like all the physicality stuff that a good blocking pass should have, basically. So at this point, it's like ready to go in and do all the polishing stuff.
Yeah. I tried doing the layered method
Mm-hmm.
and I just couldn't see it until the legs were in. It just looked weird.
So you tried the layer where you don't animate the legs, you just animate the body.
Yeah. And it was quite nice to get a very quick run through the scene there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to doing all the physicality, it just looked too bizarre to me to be able to see
I see.
and know that it was working.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the layer method gets a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done it before and you're used to the pose to pose, um, it's right off the bat. It's takes some time. But then if you continue doing it, it's gonna get easier, and then you can ignore the stuff that looks weird, and
Yeah.
you can just focus on what you want to see. Basically, your brain gets better in um, um, filtering all the weird stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
seeing what you want to see, and then it's gonna get easier. But yeah, it's something that if after a few times you try it, you see you're still not comfortable, you can continue with the pose to pose. It's not like a something that you have to do. Every
No.
animator approaches with their own way. There's no right or wrong. Um, but yeah, it's just something if you're comfortable with. But
I think it's worth getting comfortable with it because it you can, especially if a character's moving through a scene, you can get so much blocked in so fast with just the root control.
yes, yes, that's correct. That's correct. You get to the like almost final results a lot quicker
Yeah.
using the layer than when you do pose to pose, because pose to pose you have to add enough poses and breakdowns for the action to read,
Yeah.
so that you can judge it to say, okay, now what areas need work, so you go back in. With the layer, you get there much quicker, and then you can adjust. So it's much more efficient, I would say. But then yeah, it needs getting used to.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's take a look. Yeah, this first part, as the panther is getting back, is very nice. This head turn you have here has a very good timing, like the one in the ref. Oh, it's such a nice touch that this small this leg does a like a 3 frame up and down that you added
Yeah.
here. It's very nice. This head and neck movement going forward from here to here is very nice.
Cool.
Now, one thing here, you could have pushed it even more. You see,
Okay.
well, the camera angle is a little bit different. but you see the chest versus the neck has this angle in this extreme pose that you have, whereas you look at the ref is almost a straight line.
Yeah.
So it's telling us like you could have pushed the neck more down this pose to get a straight line, and then you would get more contrast when you raise the neck here for that initiation of the jump.
Yeah.
One thing is to pay attention to the RX of the hips and the chest. They
Yeah.
always go against each other.
Okay.
If the hips is coming, like in this pose in the ref, you see the legs are coming forward so that the hip would rotate this way in RX to allow for the legs to come forward. If the hips is doing that, the chest should follow like this,
Okay.
which you see in the ref is it's creating this shape in the spine,
Yeah.
which is the result of the hips rotating this way and the chest rotating this way. Here, I see you've rotated the hips this way, but maybe the chest could be rotated down as well, so that we would get the this arc in the spine.
Yeah.
Also, pay attention to where the legs land for this pose. You see, how do I zoom in? This one, yeah. So you see, it's almost crossing the silhouette of the front legs.
Yeah.
This is the front leg, it comes there, and then yeah, and then in your animation, there's still much like the distance we have is still more distance.
Yeah.
So the back lips, like if you like it's it, you know, everything goes together. So you would need to rotate the hips more in RX, bring the legs forward here, get that shape in the spine, and then um, to to get that antique pose for the jump.
Yeah.
Here you look at the ref, it's the opposite. So here is they rotated this way together, and then you come to this pose, you see the hips rotated this way, and the chest
Yeah.
rotated the opposite way. And
Yeah.
it's creating this shape in the spine. So we started from this and we went into this to get the most stretch and force between the two.
Yeah.
And then one thing here that you can improve is what the front legs are doing from here to here. You see, you look at this point in the ref, take a look at where the head is in relation to where the front leg is. So like the paw is further out than the line of the head.
Yeah.
Um, what you have here is good, but still you could push a little bit more
Yeah. Yeah.
to get the same proportions versus the head and the arms. Here, everything you have is very nice. Again, here, same thing. Look at where the head is versus where the paw is. The paw could be more forward here.
Yeah.
Same thing for the landing. Now, one thing that you're doing in your landing, but could be exaggerated a lot more. Look at the ref. from this frame, see where the head is, head and neck are, and then see what are they doing. They're like going, they're here and they go back for that contact pose of the arms. Like the head and neck is here in the air and then goes back.
Yeah.
This. You have it, but could be exaggerated a lot more.
Yeah.
So that here your head like this could be the angle. Now depending on how good the rig is, sometimes you can get the exact same shape, but you know the head and neck could be here. And then what happens is that like in 2 frames, absorbing the impact of the landing, the head and neck go from here on the contact, boom, goes forward.
Okay.
Which you can see it here. So you see here, let's say on this frame 80, let's say is they're extreme back, and then in 3 frames here, see how much they come forward. Now they're past where the front paw is.
Yeah.
And here the front paw is here, head is here, and then lands forward and then stays forward for that momentum to keep going.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. And then this is for this bounce that the hips do when the back legs land in the water, for the push off, see we have 1 frame of almost straight. See, like
Yeah.
it's almost straight, like even the frame before. It's a little bit, you cannot see clearly, but it feels like they go like 2 frames straight. They actually kick back a little from the straight and then they go forward. Look at this pose. The legs are almost one with the body. And then
Yeah.
come and yeah, so here we are missing that 2 frame of straight pose,
Yeah.
which is always what one of the big signs of selling the force of the jump or the bounce.
Yeah.
You have the kick out, which is very nice, and then you have this pose, which is also very nice. And then after the hips land from this pose, from this hop, in the ref it's hard to see, but there's a little bit more bounce to that first landing after the big hop. What you have it, but it could be exaggerated a lot more because we expect that momentum to go somewhere. If we have that big hop in the hips and then as they land, everything dies, feels the weight, it takes away from the feeling of the weight. So we would expect to have boom and then another bounce and then going to the walk.
Yeah.
And then one thing to keep in mind, I know this rig is not the best, but for the straight leg shapes, always try to use, like this is something we do in the polish, but you see, like in this leg, the elbow in the ref is here, like it's almost at the line of the body of the chest, the underline of the chest, and then from here to here, we have a straight leg.
Yeah.
Now here, I know this rig is probably doesn't maybe allow for that with the controls that you have, but just something to keep in mind, like those straight shapes that the legs and the hands do and the arms do. It's always good to keep in mind to get the most out of it.
Yeah, I think I can do that with the rig. The rig's not, it's not as bad as the Lion. The crabs are still a little wonky, but they're a bit better than the Lion, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is very nice. Like this, if you have the motivation to polish this, to work on this, this could be a demo reel piece. You
Yeah,
you can you can actually like put some lights on it, put some like spend a little time on the environment,
yeah,
uh, and then you know if if you polish this up, it would I would I would include it in my reel.
cool. I will do then.
And, oh man, I never. I'm used to the controls in the review tool that we have at work, and then when I switch to Sync Sketch, I'm always lost.
You use shotgun, don't you?
Yeah, Shotgun, the RV is called Review Tool,
Yeah,
and it has all sort of its own shortcuts that I'm used to for zooming in, zooming out, for doing drawovers, and the tail is doing yeah, it's very nice. Cool, very good.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Looks like we're still the only ones, huh? Was
Yeah,
it was it canceled today or
not that I've
no?
seen anywhere.
I don't.
The Asian girl turns up normally a bit late, but I'm surprised Juan and Arthur aren't here.
Yeah. Well, we're recording this, so they can watch it later.
Yeah,
Okay, so today we can look into dogs a little bit,
cool.
and let's see what we have now. Find my dog folder. There we are. Now we have a rig for the dog. Again, it's the same setup. It's not the best, but for the purpose of like blocking something out, I think it would suffice. Now for the dog, we already looked at, like we already went through the physicality of the cats, and like for quadrupeds, it's generally the same thing. Um, so I thought instead of doing another cycle, we could do that. Instead of doing another cycle, we could take a look at some of the more details um, and focus on like more like a polishy stuff for for the dogs. And one of the main things is the head moves, like the dogs versus the cats. I would say, at least in my experience, is the way the head and the neck move. Which, if you see some like imagine if you're in the like in the early hours in the morning where there's not enough light, you just see a silhouette of an animal far behind, and you cannot see exactly if it's a cat, if it's a dog, and then the way the head and neck move of a cat versus a dog is something that you would notice and say, "Oh, it's a dog. Oh no, it's a cat." You know, when all the other information getting to your eye is not enough to make that decision. Um, so cats usually have more of a more like a graceful kind of moves with the head and neck. Um, Dogs are very more sloppy. Like everything moves all over the place, and like everything is quick to the point of the attention. Like they hear something, boom, the head goes, and then they smell something, the ear, they hear something again, here goes, and another thing is the facial And the facial is the eyes and the eyebrows for the dogs. Well, whenever you have a close-up, something that sells being a dog is those quick eyebrow and eyelid movements. And one thing that is very strange about dogs is that the eyebrows sometimes move together like a human. Um, More often, though, they move against each other. One eyebrow goes up where the other goes down, which is something humans cannot do unless like you practice a lot, so you can do like raise one. Um, Let me see if I have an example of that here. Here, both of them are moving at the same time. Same for here. Same for here. Okay. It's in another video. But while we're here, let's check the timing for the eyebrows moving. You see here, the dog is looking down. 1, 2. So like the main movement, like I would say 90% of that eyebrow and eyelid move is in the first 2 frames. And then 1, 2, 3 frames after, they ease into the final pose, which is like the last 10%. And this is one of the things that for the facial for the dogs is very essential to sell the feeling of it. Again, like look at this one. 1, 2, 3. And then maybe 2 or 3 frames after that of an ease in. So whenever you look at the curves for the eyebrows or the lids, they go like this. Like this, they start here, 1 frame, 2 frame, and then 2 or 3 more frames they ease in and get into the final pose. Something like this. Like the whole move usually wouldn't be more than 5 or at the most 6 frames. Everything is very quick. Boop, boop, boop. That's one thing to keep in mind. Same for the blinks. Blinks of a dog, 2 frames and it's closed. Like you see from here, there's 1 frame of ease out, like the upper lids go maybe 5% of the way. Next frames, 95% closed, and then closed, and then in 1 frame again, 90% opens, and then 2 or 3 frames of easing in. So all the facials for the dog is very quick, especially in the eye mask, the eyebrows, the eyelids, and the eye darts itself. Like this eye dart has 2 frames, and then with a 1 frame offset, the eyelids follow. Boom. And then check this one. I think this one has some of that. And then something else dogs do, which is nice, is that one eye blinks sometimes where the other doesn't fully blink, or maybe just do a half blink, which is something you see here, like as the tongue is that side, one eye blinks, the other one does a half blink, which is something like humans don't normally do. And then looking at the way the head and the eyes move, so this is another thing that sells the dogs. You see here, there's an eye dart to screen left, and then as the head is turning that way, the RZ and the RY are going first. The RX is not going at the same timing. The RX feels like it has a more of a linear curve where the head is raising, but the RZ and the RY go like this. So you see from here to here, from this frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frame or 8 frame, the RY goes most of its way because it wants to allow for the eyes to go to look at whatever is catching the attention of the dog. And then when it gets there, then the RY doesn't move much. Then it's the rest of the rotations that go, and the neck and the head move. So this is something to keep in mind. Same for here. You see, from here to here, the RY, which is like this axis, is going there, and then when it gets there, then the head then the neck, which is controlling the head translation, catches up, which is something like boom, and then the head goes, and then everything comes to a stop. And then take a look at the contrast of this head move, the spacing of it. So comes up, the lick, and then after the lick, boom, everything goes because something catches the attention. It's like coming up, and then boom, it goes, and then it stops there. Like if you do something like this in your shot, you will probably get the note, the feedback. Hey, this dog here is not doing anything. It's not natural. You have to add some animation in there. But that's something that dog actually do when there's something interesting in front of them. Nothing moves. It's just a little bit of pixel buzz, just a little bit, so it doesn't feel locked. But everything is like staying there, which is what you see here. A little bit of nose. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, this one is perfect for those eyebrows. So look, for example, this one. The screen left eyebrow, see how much it moves compared to the screen right. The screen right, actually, the eyebrow doesn't move at all. It's just the eyelid that is opening and the eye. And then the other one, this shape here is moving. And then when you look at it, boom, that side is moving. Ah, look at this. This is the perfect example. You see, this one is moving down while this one is moving up. And it usually happens within an eye direction change. Like he's looking this way, and then as the eyes are moving that way, the eyebrows go against each other. This is again one of the things that cats never do. It's only specific to dogs where eyebrows can move against each other. And again, look at the timing of it. Here it is. So if you look at this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 frames, where the first 2 frames have the most, have the biggest spacings, and then it eases into that final pose. Same with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, or just 4. And then again here. Here they move together, but then right after we have a quick move of this one, which is just isolated by itself, which is very nice. Again, this is some things that only dogs do. Like one eyebrow just moves, the other does not move at all. Let's see what else we can see here. It's nice. Let's take a look at the blink. For the blinks, one thing that is interesting is that the whole mask around the eyes contract for the blink from both sides, from the eyebrow side and from the cheek side, and then they open back up. You look at it, you look at this area here, you can see it's contracting and then opening back up. Even we see it a little bit here, up until here even. That muscle that is contracting is firing up a little bit there as well. And all this mask around there. So when doing blinks for the dogs, it's always good to keep in mind that everything has to come together and then open up with that quick timing that we talked about. Let's see if he does another blink. This one has the same. Yeah. And then another thing to keep in mind for dogs is that, again, quick timing of the nose opening and closing, which is always they're always sniffing around all the smells. The nose never stops. It's always doing things. And then another thing is that the muscles here um, go against the muscles of here. So let's see if you can see it here. Yeah, we can see it here. You see, if this is not the best quality, but the muscles that are in this side push in. The muscles for the nostril open up, so that these guys push in. These guys scale up to get to open the nostril. You see, you can see it here. The muscles on the side are pushing in while the nostrils are opening up. Again, you can see it here. The nostrils are opening up where those muscles push in. So when you're doing like polishing up the nose area, keep in mind that they don't open and close together. If you have controls for this part, like we do at work, we push these guys in and the nostrils, we open them up. So they work against each other, which is another dog thing. Cats don't have this. Yeah, you can see it here. Whoop, whoop. And then one other thing to keep in mind is that when the nostrils are firing up the muscles, we would see a little bit of movement on these two muscles as well, because they're connected. So if there are controls on your rig, it's always good to connect them so that we would feel the contracting of those two muscles on top of the nose and then the nostrils opening up. In this ref, we see it. We don't see it that much. Maybe here we see a little bit of that top muscles. Cool. Let's see. I was going to download a quick video. See if it's finished. Second. Cool. Okay. The rig that we have unfortunately has very rudimentary controls for the facial. We have eyebrow up and down and this. Now I hate this kind of controls where it's on the side and you have to move it around. I much prefer have the controls right on the actual face. But this is what we have to work with. This is for the eye. This one. We have the lower lid, and I don't know what this guy does. It should do that. We have the lower lid. We have the corner going in and out. And we have the jowls. Okay, so for today, I thought we could do a little bit of facial work. Let's say frames. Then I would quickly set up camera. Then I then 35, maybe it's too long the lens. Let's say 50. Yes. Okay. Voila. Cool. Now let's see what we can find. Good. This. Start from here. This. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah. And of course, the licking of the mouth is like another thing that if you get it right for the dogs, it's like perfect addition for the facial. And the thing with the tongue is, for the dogs, the tongue feels like it has a life of its own. When you look at it frame by frame, you see how much it changes shape during the, the lick. It's something that in humans they never do, like this kind of change of shape, and in cats it's less, but that's something that dogs have, that like the tongue you see come out with this shape, which is the normal shape, and then look how much it's changing shape as it starts to slide back. And then here I don't know even what that change of shape is. I think the lower side is conforming to the corner of the mouth, the shape, and then in 3 frames, boom, all that goes in, and the mouth closes. So let's do a quick export of this. Cool. So we have our F here. So basically the dog is sitting. So we can start with a sitting pose. And then there's this head move coming up. You see the leg. As soon as the leg is over, we have something catches its attention, and then the head goes boom to there, and then we have like 20 frames of like just a concentrated moving hold at the end. And then on top of that, we have this blink. Okay, here at the end, I'm gonna add a few eyes and eyebrow details that the ref doesn't have, but it's good to add. So let's start with our basic sitting pose. Hips, head, spine. When dogs sit, they rotate the hip like that. Then it moves down. Both legs forward for the sitting pose. Body overall moves down a little bit. This kind of shape. Controls. This sitting pose is something that I haven't seen a rig that yet can accomplish that with the deformation of the legs. Always it needs another pass from CFX character effects or from Tekanin to fix it. But seeing that we don't see it in our shot here, should be fine. I push the hips a little too much. Change the shape. Okay, let's say something like that for our sitting pose. And then we are starting from a pose something like this, which the head and neck are kind of lower, looking to screen right. There's a little bit of R to it. Now for dogs, what I do sometimes is I don't know if we can do it here because we don't have the space suture tool, but I start with the head to block out in FK so that I can use the neck control to move everything to move the head around. And then after that, I switch to IK so I can get that separation between the head and the neck. Because if you keep going with the FK, then you would need to counter animate the neck in order to get that separation. Sometimes the head, just you see the rotation of the head in the dog, but the neck is not moving, and then the neck comes, kicks in, and then moves. So it's like boom. But seeing that we probably cannot use that method here, let's see, we need to do a little bit of counter animation. So let me find the camera. A little too close here compared to the rest. Let's pull it back. That. Okay, so when doing, it's always good to check the ref when doing your first pose, just to see. Here we are seeing a little too much neck. Now, so let's say this is our starting pose. Then comes up from here to here, and that is the eye dart leads that one. You see right at the first frame, have a 2-frame eye dart. The dog is looking this direction. It starts from looking forward, 2-frame eye dart, and then the head accelerates and then slows down to around here. So it's kind of like a 24-frame move for the head. And you see again the RY of the head goes first most of the way. Then the RX follows a little bit. And if you look at the top line of the neck here as an indication of the translation of the head overall, you see at the beginning it's not moving, like in these frames where the head RY is doing the most, from frame 2 to frame 10, the head is not translating up that much. It's after that that the most translation of the head and neck is raising. So we can remember that as we are blocking this out, and then we come to the leg. And then the leg, the tongue is always a frame by frame work. Like it never, because it changes shape on every frame. It's never something you can just leave to Maya to do the in-betweens for you. You always have to do it frame by frame, but we get to it. So looking at the ref, we are looking there, we have the eye aim, which I have to turn on. So we're looking there, and we have a 2-frame eye dart. I always block out the eye darts because they add so much. And then I start from the like the most, not the most important, like the bigger curves, and then go down on a layer approach. So here I would start with the RY. Let's say we want to get to this pose, but actually it's not too bad to just key everything here. Go to our pose here at the end. which is this pose. We want to get to this pose. The head has RY, a little bit of RZ, and the neck and the head, if you look at it, the neck is still going this way, but the head is rotated this way. So if you look at it from the top, if this is the dog sitting, back leg, tail, the neck has this kind of rotation, but the head has this kind of rotation a little bit. This is something that dogs do. Cats do the same. Sometimes the head and neck don't have the same rotation. So here, you don't want the head to be raised. However, it's not changing. It's not rotating back too much. Which raises up. However, the RY of the head, something that changes, and the RX, which in district unfortunately is RZ, should always be RX. Always check the ref as you're working out your poses. So let's say this is the pose we want to get to. Still, my neck is a little too high. Should be a little bit lower. I always feel the knees. Okay, so we want to go from here to here. This is a good spot as any to start my trusted graph editor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5 frame. The RY goes most of the way, and then it eases into it. Then, as the RY is going, the RZ is also kicking in. RZ is not that much in this one. Let's say here. This one is RX, which is confusing, but this comes back here. Now RY is a little bit of ease out, a little bit more ease in, so it doesn't feel like it's hit a wall. Okay, that. Now RZ, which is this rotation, it doesn't have any big acceleration, but I would say from here to here is the most that it goes. So the first 5 frames, it's probably safe to have a little bit of ease out, maybe even up to here, and then here, do a little bit more, and then ease in again to the 5 frames. Now, this is not bad. Now we go and take a look at the neck. Now remember we said the neck always, not always, most of the time, but especially this one follows the head rotation. So the head rotation goes first, looking at something off camera that caught the attention, and then the neck moves, which is what translates the head. So here we are using the FK control for the neck. Now, this has our main rotation. We start from here. I would say until this frame, RZ should remain down, maybe even go a little bit more down, and then it raises up, and a little bit of easing at the end. Same now for the side to side. If you look at the space under this space, which could tell us what the neck is doing, it feels like the neck is doing counter move here, you see? Like the first 5 or 6 frames, looks like the neck is moving the opposite of the head, and then it catches up after. Now, because we're looking at it like almost from the front view, it's hard to see what the neck is doing. But let's try that. In my experience, sometimes that's what the neck does. As the head rotates this way, the neck counters and then comes back to catches up. So let's say, why do I always close my? If this is our side to side, here, I want to moving a little bit. Here it's counter. Then it catches up. So here, then we have yeah, starting to have the same feeling of the ref. Trying to block out this couple of frames. Now, after this initial pass, which like gets us halfway there, one thing that is a good trick to do is to follow the ref and look at the and track the arc of the nose to make sure what we've blocked out is good. Now you see from here, the nose is going a screen left until here, and then looks like it stops, which means the rotation of the head, everything stops. It's only moving up a little bit. It's also going into the leg, which the mouth opens. But just to check to see if we got that right until this part. Yeah, it's doing the same thing. So need to keep the head raising up at the end and not come to a complete stop. So it's the RZ. Yes. Cool. Now, did we have a blink here? We don't have a blink, but we have one of those quick eyebrow moves. Let me clean up this. We have so you see, if you look at the screen right eyebrow, you see the shadow of the eyebrow as it's coming up here, which is connected to that eye dot. See, it comes to this shape. From a neutral shape, comes to that shape. The other eyebrow, I don't see much movement in it. So it's telling us one eyebrow and and a little bit of the eyelid is raising up as the dog comes up. It keeps that shape until here where it does this blink and comes back. That's something to add. Now in this layered approach, I leave the body alone for now. Don't set any key on it because in this type of shot, the body follows what the head and neck do. The body, because it's like a sitting pose, the weight is resting on the butt. So there's nothing that originates from the hips or the lower body. So you can, what I do is just I work out the head moves because it's the main feature of the shot, and then I connect the chest to it, and then whatever the chest does would affect the hips, and then I go down the spine and connect everything together. But because like if this was your shot, you wouldn't worry about what the legs would do. But for example, you see here when the head is raising, you see a little bit of movement on the chest, which is following the neck, and you see a little bit of movement on the hips, which is what the chest is doing, affecting the hips. Here again, you see a big change in the chest movement for this quick head move. But for the first blocking pass, no need to add that. You can always add it later once you get the head worked out. Okay, so let's add that quick eyebrow move here. Let's see, we have this control, which does this. Start this shape, and then this one. Then from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say 6 frames. The shapes on this dog is not very good. And then I go to my graph editor, tell it, okay, the first 2 frames, most of the way, first 2 frames, go most of the way. Oh, we have a squeeze. That is the squeeze. The squeeze pushes it in. Okay, that's great. I want it to push it here. And then it's back up. And then all around town. There's this guy there. As it comes up, we have controls. That was a bug on the rig. Yeah, not bad. We are getting that quick eyebrow move that the dogs do. Now, something else that is nice in the polish pass, but let's do it now because I don't forget, is that because the eyebrow moves are quick, sometimes it helps if you add a little bit of anticipation the other way before it goes up. It adds that snappy feeling that you expect to see when the eyebrows of a dog move. So here I will take the liberty of adding 2 frame down. Then when the movements are too quick, it always helps if you leave like when you have a 2 frame move, the middle frame for the dogs always favor the next one. Now, we have too much here, we are seeing it, you should only feel it, not see it. So just use Yeah. One thing is that the first frame, when we come into the shots, remember, if you have a shot in a movie, your character should never start from a, like the curve should not start from a flat pose, because you can be 99% sure the character was doing something in the previous shot. So if all your curves start from the flat in your shot and end with the flat, when you look at it in continuity, then the character doesn't make sense, because the match cuts don't work, because the character has to be moving already. So if you're working on a shot in the movie, always check the before and after shots. Here, for the sake of that specific point, let me make sure the head doesn't start from a completely flat. I'm sure there's a little bit of movement. Same for neck. You should have, doesn't have to start from flat. Something in this ring is broken. As soon as I move this, the shape for the eyebrow jumps into correct shape. Okay, it's not bad, I would say, for a blocking, for a quick blocking. Let's check RF. Okay, now we go for the leg. Oh yeah, this is the difficult part. Now, if you look at what the head is doing during the leg, the head is staying more or less in the same place, but it's raising up in Rx, or in Rx is Rz, as the jaw is opening. Also, the head is rotating a little bit in Ry to screen right, and then comes back at the end for this head. So let's say if we can get that, come here, let's say 1022, and then it's always good for the first pass at least to see how many frames it takes for me. Now here, it's like a 20 frame, remove the whole, the leg, the majority of the leg, sorry. So we can block that in 1022, we would go to 1040, I would say. One maybe, to make it a bit more. And in this part, we want the head to raise and come back down. Well, it doesn't come back well, yeah. Until frame 18, it's raising and the jaw is opening and the head is going straight right. So here, the head is raising. RY, this way. And then, because it's a lick action, we need to block in the jaw, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Now the timing for the jaw, again, is good to consult our ref. Now you see, when the tongue comes out, the jaw doesn't fully open. It just opens enough for the tongue so the tongue can come out. It stays in that pose. And then as the tongue starts to go back for the leg, the jaw opens, stays there, and then closes in 4 frames or 3 frames. So let's say we can start from here to here, 13 frames, the jaw opens. To here, it's RX. Also remember the first 3 frames it comes out. It's just enough for the tongue to reach out. So we don't want to fully come to there. We come to here. So that stays. Then we go to here. It's always good to key your ease in and ease out. Another thing that I do, I always break the handles of the keys in the interest of saving time, at least for the blocking. It's there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Stay here. 3 frames. It closes. A little bit of this. So basically, jaw is doing something like this. This need more into it. Okay, let's check this again. Now let's build in this quick head move here while we're on it. You can just block it out and then go for the tongue. Now from here, when everything is open, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames for the, maybe 6 frames for the head rotation to get to where they want. It's like the RY and the RZ. Then keeping that orientation is the translation of the head that kicks in, and the head goes screen left, and then there's a little bit of settle at the end. So let's say 6 frames from maybe here. Find our head. Let's say until here. Now for this pose, let's check the ref. The head is dropping in Rx, it's going screen left in Ry, and the RZ doesn't change that much, but there's a little bit of change within the move in the RZ. Like you see here, it's like a little bit, the head is rotated this way. And then in these few frames, looks like it goes a little bit more RZ this way. And then here, it goes back a little this way. So you see, if you follow the screen left eye, it goes down versus the screen right eye and then levels out. We can add that later because it's something within the bigger moves. But we need the main patterns. Here, drop the head, come to the side. And then it's also good to flip between the poses to make sure, and go back and forth with our ref. And then now the neck. What does the neck do at the end? The head goes this way, so that means the head, if you follow the head as a block, from here, when we start this chunk, everything is moving that way. And then we settle on something like this, which if you look at it from the top, feels like the neck is almost going straight ahead. So here we would have the neck go like that. Let's say if there's any up and down to it. Not too much, maybe a little bit, drops a little bit. Okay, now the second move is looking as ugly as it can look because everything is happening at the same time, at the same frame. Now, that, come first to the neck. I just delete this key here. Already by deleting that, you have a little bit of separation between the two. If you look at the nose as an indication of the head Rx in this axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames, it has the most of the spacings. Here it's RZ for us. More and then RY. This go here. And need that ease into that pose. Remember, fast moves, especially on dogs, that momentum and that energy has to go somewhere. Otherwise, it has a feeling of everything hitting a imaginary wall. So whenever you have a fast move, you need to ease in, give it enough frames after it to ease into the pose to get that organic feeling. Like you see here, if you look at the head, you have this fast move from here to here, and then we have all this easing after. It's like 8 or 9 frames easing into that, which is that energy dying out. Okay, it's looking a little bit better, still not here. We can work a little bit on the RY of the head for the leg part. So as the head is raising up for the leg, it's also going a screen right a little bit. But going a screen right happens a little bit after the head starts moving up. So I would say around here, the head would still be rotating a little bit that way. And then it's just go that. And then when it's coming back from that top, if you look at the nose drops in 3 frames more than it rotates. Then we have the bigger part of the rotation happening from this frame to here. Let's see if we can build that in. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we have almost the same. Then okay, not bad. Now let's take a look at the RZ. We need it more and up, which is good. Let's see what's happening in the bridge. Ah, you see something that I missed here. You see, if you look at a good way to gauge the RZ, like this axis, is to look at the eyes and draw an imaginary line between them and then follow it to see what the head is doing. That's at least what I do. So here you see from this pose, the eyes are almost level. If you draw a line between them, it's almost parallel to the ground. Here, as the head is raising, we get a little bit of this, which means the head rotated that way in RZ. Here, still is present. And then when it comes to here, it levels out, but still we have a little bit of it here. Still not completely level with the ground, at the bottom of the frame. So let's see if we can build that in. Come here. As it's raising. From here. This then levels out. Top. It really, yeah, leads and then levels out. So all these little things that you have to find it in the ref and put it in is what then when you're finished and when you look at it makes it, oh, that's a dog, that's you perceive it as a real dog. It's a combination of all these little things. So I would say here we level out a little bit. Then on the first 2 frames of it going down, look at this. The first 3 frames still is leading. So 1, 2, 3. So here, still leading like this. Then it levels out. There. That. Let's see if it works. Something wrong here is the RZ. Here. Again, easings are important, keep in mind. Okay. Now let me go up here. Looks like we're staying in that pose a little too long. Yeah. See here we have 1, 2, 3 frames of moving hold on that jaw open pose and the head rotation before it starts to come back down. Here looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. I can easily grab all my controls. Here is the start. Set a key on 1034 and 1037. Move these two keys in the middle and bring everything one frame back. Let's see how that moves. Okay, starting to look half decent. Now, the jaw has been neglected a little bit. When does the jaw closes? Is the third frame when the head starts to move, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames after the head starts to move. Now, our jaw is starting 1 frame early. This right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here, right here, looks like you have too many frames. The head gets here and then it starts to move. Let's check the ref. Oh, actually, no, we don't have too many frames. Look at this. The nose comes up and then there's a few frames when the head is rotating down, which makes the nose almost stay at the same place where the head is raising with the neck. That's something I missed. So it's from here to here, which is something we should add. So it feels like if you look at it from the side, the neck is still going up, but the head is rotating down, which makes the nose remain in the same place. It's from here to here. Which you see if you look at the top of the head, it's moving up because the head, the neck is raising. But because the head is countering at the same time down, the nose stops within the screen space. Good touch if we can add that in. RZ. Here. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Maybe even here it needs to be. Okay. Not too bad. Let me save the file quickly, just in case Maya does one of its tricks. Disappears on us. Cool. Any questions so far? All good? Okay, now we get to the difficult part, which is blocking out the tongue. Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's see the rig for the tongue that we have. Here. Can move it. Okay. Can stretch it. Can we scale it? That's the question. Oh, we can. Okay. Okay. Okay, so for blocking out the tongue for the lick, I just delete all the keys that we have on it so far. We need one here. Now we go back to the ref to see what the tongue is doing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 5 frames, the tongue goes from not, we don't see the tongue here. 5 frames come to this shape. Stays there for 1, 2 frames, and then starts to widen out as it's sliding back. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames, reaches 7th frame, reaches the corner of the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames, stays there more or less while changing a little shape, conforming to the corner, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames disappears. Okay, let's see if we can black that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we can black the first 5 frames. Okay, here we need that. Now, depending on the rig that you have, it's good to start from the base of the tongue for the dog, just so you wouldn't get too much stretch at the tip. If I only use the first control, which is the tip, and I use it to get that shape, it might stretch out the textures too much, and then when you render it out, you will see the stretch depending on the resolution of the texture. So it's always good to minimize any extreme stretch on the tongue. So we start with that main control and then move down the line. It's better to go wireframe. Start to see. Let's use that one. Now this dog is a little bit, has different proportions of the snout. The husky snout is like not as long, but here I think we need more tongue to work with. So I would say all that stuff. Okay. And this guy. Let's see if we can build that shape. Now for the tongue, remember you have to translate and rotate. It's not a simple rotation unless you have a very good rig that conforms when you rotate. But usually at work, even the rigs that we have, you have to use a little bit of both to get the shape that you want. Let's see the rest. A little bit more to the side and comes on top of the nose. So we have to go back to our main control. Keep more here. So to the side. Right. And then of course, if it's not perfect, CFX can do a pass on it. But here for this class, we don't have the support of take any effects, so we have to try to store themselves. Okay, let's see. Let's say for this pose, this is what we want. And this part is perfect. Okay. Now, when you set two keys, that's the issue. It comes right from the inside the geo. So we need at least one pose breakdown in the middle to make sure that doesn't happen. Here I'll just copy paste the first pose on it. Grab the main goes there. So that's not too much. The tongue in dogs is just frame by frame tedious work. There's no easy way to it. Okay, at least we have one frame. It should not go up at the same time. The problem with this trick is that when the mouth opens, it's giving away that we don't have the rest of the geo of the tongue. Unfortunately, nothing we can do about that. Let's see, block out the rest. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames to get to the end. So it's here. Oh, maybe we can get away with it because here we can hide that. And then 1, 2, 3 stays there a little bit, maybe even 4 frames. And then goes back. Select all the controls. And copy paste the first frame. Okay. At least it's enough to tell the story. If you show this to your director or to your supervisor, you don't need to explain what is the intention here. They can see it's rough, but they can see that you intend to do a look here. Now, you can improve it a little bit more here. Move this up. Take this guy out. Take this guy in. Now here, the intention is to show that the tongue is on the surface of the mouth there, because it's like keeps the contact as it's going back. Now that's going to be frame by frame work, but just to this clean the top and bottom, that's for this pose. Here, these 2 frames, we need to continue this rotation because it's a little bit, sorry, it's a little bit, the stop is a little bit too abrupt. this the rig is consistent with itself, if not the rest of the world. Make sure it doesn't intersect with the surface. Okay. Then another thing would be great to add is the stretch that happens on this 3 frames. Let's see. We can use the scale. Let's check the you see it starts from the tip, the stretch. So it looks like this part is the first part that starts to stretch for the first 2 frames. But actually that's the only part that stretches. The middle part doesn't stretch like, oops, sorry. From here to here, stretch a little bit, but then comes back. Okay. So we use the stretch mainly on this guy. This guy. Let's say this guy first. Scale. Okay. Here it comes back. Let's say. Okay, you see it's already adds another layer of believability, organicness to the tongue. Cool. Let's see if we missed anything. Okay, now one thing on the facial that we can check, let me close and open again to get rid of all the annotations, is so here we have that eyebrow and eye dart. It comes up, doesn't have too much movement. Look here, as there's an eye dart, there's a subtle eye dart down here with the eyebrows coming down, and then stays there. Here the screen right eye does a full blink while the screen left eye does a half blink at the apex of the lid, like as it's opening, and then it's quickly boom, boom. So let's add those 2 in. We have one eye dot here as the tongue is coming out. So it looks like here. Find my eye direction. Okay. Eye dot down. Now for eye darts, either use 2 frames or 1 frame. If it's a smaller eye dart, only 1 frame, because with the motion blur, it's gonna be not as sharp as what you see in animation. So for smaller eye darts, if you use 2 frames, when motion blur comes on top of it, feels like the eye is drifting a little bit. So for smaller eye darts, 1 frame. If you have a bigger eye dart when the eye is moving too much within the socket, then 2 frames, where the middle frame goes about 80% of the way. So here I just grab these 2 guys and bring them down. So something like then within that eye dart, we saw the eyebrows also down a little bit. And then you have to always ease the eyebrows into their pose. So for example here, this is something like this. So the first two frames is the main, and then it eases into. And then let's add the blink for here. So again, remember for the blink, all the mask around the eye, like the cheeks, the sides, and the eyebrows close and open, like everything comes together like squash and then opens up. Even if it's not too much, we would feel it for dogs, and it adds a layer of organicness on top of it. So what I would do, grab these guys, kill this keys here. Now let's find the perfect timing for it. It opens right before the head goes. So first open here. Should start from 2 frames down, 3 frames. Same for the eyelids. Frames. Close. Close. Okay. Upper lid. Oh, we have the back here. What the district looks like. It's not doing what I'm telling it to do. Okay, we can use the squint instead of the blink. Unfortunately, the blink control doesn't work. And go to the squint here. Now, one eye goes full to the close, stays there, and then once. The other eye does a half blink. Which is something that's F. See, it's almost a half blink. So here. Really good these out. Okay, now here for this blink, we need eyebrows to do the job, to come down, come back up again. Which we have frame. And let's see what controls we have for the cheeks. Okay, we have this, this, size. So we have these two guys, which we can connect to make it more organic. Here we push the cheeks up. We can just push them up. Okay, it's already adding even this, adding a little bit. For opening it up, remember when it opens up, you always need that easing into the open. So first two frames go like that, and then okay, let's see if there's anything else in the facial list. Okay, here as the mouth is opening, especially the screen right side corner, feels like it's pulling back with the tongue here. Reason for that is we are seeing this side of the snout raising up. So even though we don't see the corner, it feels like the corner is pulling back, which is something again that dogs do. So for the lid to connect the tongue more with the face, let's see if we can find something to add it. I think this guy was only on one side. Okay, well, a little bit of both, and then we come back and add it more on the side, because even though the tongue comes to screen right, the other side is also opening. So maybe from here to here. Here. Oh. Now this side needs more attention. Screen right side from here to here to raise and go back down. The shapes is not very good, but because we don't see it that side, we just need to see the effect of it on the snout. I think this will give us that. And here, go back, zero it out. Yeah, it's giving us a better bit of it. Still not enough though. Let's see if I can push it. Oh no, sorry. Okay. Let's see, there was something else here we had. Upper roll, lower roll. Oh yeah, maybe this can. Let's see what the left does. The lower lip. You see here when the jaw is opening, the lower lip it's sliding open versus the lower teeth. Here in this frame, see the relationship between the lower lip and the teeth, and then here it opens, so we see more teeth, and then it closes. This is something we can add. So it starts around this frame where the tongue has that shape. So lower roll, actually all the keys. Then it starts from here to here. Okay, why are we not seeing the teeth? Okay. Now we have a control for the lower teeth. think the placement for that is not good because it should place like this. So let's set this key for now. Okay, yeah, because at this frame you should see that teeth according to our ref. Now we can go back. Now we can go back to the lower rule and see if we can improve on what we have. We want to see the lower lip slide open. We should start going from early. Now we still don't feel it when the animation plays out, and that's because the jaw is opening at the same time. And this lower lip is not reading at the moment. Let's see how is it. Oh, we see it here. On this frame, we should see more. In this frame, we should actually see more. Because of this rig, we need a little bit of counter animation. Move it here. And then it opens so we see the difference. What happens after? See the teeth until the last frame and then closes. See until here. See, and then come back. Always add a little bit of reason to it. Okay, you're feeling a little bit of it now, which is nice. Cool. Save. Okay, let's see what the nose is doing. Nose doesn't have too much movement. Here, as the mouth, the snout is rotating that way, we also see the nose rotate with it. Now, I don't know if we have a control here for the nose. Let's see. Ah, nice. Well, we can add a little bit of slide to it. It's not the best. Okay. From here to here. Nose will slide out a little bit. And then it comes back. It's not enough. Don't feel it. However, I will add the other side too. Now it's losing volume. Yeah, but for this rig, this is what we have to work with. Okay. Now, let's see at the end. At the end, the nose does some sniffing, which is nice to add here. After the head comes to start, maybe right here, add some nose action. Now the nose timing for the dogs is very quick. It's like 2 or 3 frames open, 2 or 3 frames closed. So see, I just block it out really quick. Now the problem here is that I didn't add any holds on it. Which what it does is just as soon as it hits this frame, which is the close frame, it starts to open. But usually you need at least 2 frames closed before it starts to open again. That's one thing. Another thing is that you need that middle frame to favor the next pose. Something like this. This would have the shape of the maybe 1 or 2 frames here. So that. Now the reason that it doesn't look right is that everything else comes to a stop. I need to add some animation until the last frame. So starting with RY, so it's good to go back to the left to see. RY is not moving much. Add a little bit to it. It's too much. But RY is not moving. However, here there's a dip in the head. If you look at the nose, like the head is moving forward a little bit, which means the nose is dropping. Now that is the job for the neck control. And RZ, so find the curve. Oh, see here we only have 2 keys, that's not good. And here we have a flat. I forgot to do the pass here. So here the head comes up. Let's see what the neck does as. Actually, the neck is, you see, the head is raising here, but if you look at the line on the top of the head, this line, that line is not moving, which is telling us that the neck is going down, countering the head rotating up. And then here when the head rotates down, the neck is countering back up. And then here actually the neck is going up. Okay, that's some stuff to work with. So we come to here. Until here, the head should go down. Yeah, so I try to do the same. Look at the line on the top of the head to keep it at the same place. So to counter. And then as it goes down, check the ref. As the head is rotating down, actually that line is moving up. Which is telling us the neck is again countering what the head is doing. So it should go this way. This guy. Then at the end, even at the end, if you look at the line on the top of the head, it doesn't come back down. So as the head is rotating down, the neck is going back, countering all the way, which is something that I missed on the first time blocking. So actually here it's going back up. Okay, so all this stuff should here, and then it's back up again. Maybe it dips a little bit at the end. Yeah, timing. Yeah. Okay, now the side to side, which is the rotation Y on the neck. That also we need to take a look at. Counters here for the first frames, then goes to here. So we did the counter here. Forgot to do the counter on the other side. Counter, the head moves. So you see, as the head, now we need to find the biggest spacing on the head, so we know where to put the counter exactly. So this one is the RY of the head. And these 3 frames has the biggest, so here we need to do our counter. Okay. Oh, too much. And then also after everything goes to that side, level to 5, so scale. Okay. And then right at the end, set the length drops a little bit. See. We need to bounce back up. A little bit more. The head should counter it. Keep the nose at the same place. So find the RZ here. Find both RZs. So as the neck, you see here, is dropping, the head should counter a little bit. Too much. Yeah. Now, at the end, everything is a little bit floaty here. The head moves. You have to find the reason for it. Now, this would go to the polishing part. But while we're here, check the rotations. One thing we didn't do is the RZ here. So this here is what we saw here. As the head starts to go, if you look at screen right eye, it's moving less than the screen left eye, which is telling us the head is rotating this direction for these first few frames. Then you see here, in 2 frames, it levels out a little bit. So it's like 3 frame, 3 frame. So here I need to level out a little bit more, ease it out. Yeah, that's it. Cool. Let's check the jaw one pass to see what it does before and after the leg. Doesn't do much, so we can leave it for now. Let's check eyebrows. Eyebrows don't move. Now I'm gonna add one eyebrow move that we saw earlier here at the end, even though it's not in the ref. This one. You see the screen right is raising, the screen left is going down. And there's an eye dot with it. Let's see if we can add something here, because here at the end, the face dies a little bit, which is something in the ref, but let's say you show this to your director, the director says, hey, here at the end, add a little bit more life to the face. And usually you cannot argue that, hey, the ref doesn't have it. The director wants it, you should do it. Now, what you can do is that add a small eye dart here, maybe 1 frame eye dart, center, and then within that eye dart, do the opposite. So select this eyebrow, up, in, that, yeah, and then the other eyebrow, and then down. And then once we have the poses, we go in, do some easy and ease outs to make sure. So the main moves of the eyebrow usually is just 2 frames, and then there's 3 or 4 frames after. And then easy. So this guy, and then this guy. And now, when we get to polishing, I would go in and frame by frame all of this stuff, because still, even though it looks good here, probably in the, but we need more work. I would say the first frame should be even more explosive out of that. And then this right guy is a little bit soft now. Down. And then on top of that, outside of the brows is going down on the screen right one. I don't know if we have a control. Oh, we have. Okay, we have. Now, because we switched the eyebrows, the other one, the outer for this guy should go down. And then this is into here. Yeah, now you see the shape fits better for the screen right, screen left, sorry. Screen left eyebrow, because the outer is moving down as the inner is moving up, which is again like it's very dog thing to do. Let's check the other eyebrow in the left. Other eyebrow, everything is dropping. This guy, the, the, the inner and outer both are going down, and then there's a little bit of bounce on the outer brow as it comes back up with the lids. Let's see if we can get that in. Now we want this guy, and we want go down. Let's see if we can build in the bounce. Not feeling the bounce. Maybe we need one more thing. Yeah, now it's right. Okay, so that's too much. Yeah, now it's right. Okay, let's see if we can save. Now we do a pass on connecting the body a little bit so it's not locked. Now, one thing that I forgot to do at the beginning is to pose out the body a little bit. So if the neck is going this way, the chest rotation will always go the other way, like this. And then the hips rotation counter the chest. Yes. So we can start with this pose, and then let's. Now, again, because this shot mainly features the head and neck, I left the body alone until I have a blocking. Now I can connect everything. Now if I go back to the graph, let's see what the chest does. So as the head is coming up, if you look at this line as an indication of what the chest is doing, feels like it goes screen right and then bounces back screen left. Oop. Which is a combination of TX, the translation side to side, and RY, the rotation. Now let's see if we can build that in. Now, our RY is the RY. Now this is the bad part because you don't have a space tool suture. Now if you move the chest, the head goes with it. Okay. So here, rotate this way, come back this way. And the timing for the chest, usually in dogs, is something between 6 and 8 frames. Um, because of the mass and the weight that it has, it cannot move faster because then it loses the sense of weight. And anything more than 8 or 9 frames, then it becomes a little floaty, and it doesn't really have that same feeling. So keep that in mind. Here I have this, maybe it eases into here, and then goes back like that. So we have a little bit of movement on the chest. And then let's see what the chest is doing in this part. Not much. Again, you see here, as the head is going screen left, the chest is going the opposite way. And then coming back. Look at it, boom, it goes screen right and then comes back. Let's see if we can build that in. It's from here. Goes this way. Back 6 frames. Comes back. Settles back. So it has a little bit of it. Let's see if the timing is correct. It is correct. And then just to have something for here, we have a little bit, just so the keys are not flat, so that the pixels would lock. We want the pixels to buzz a little bit for the body. I think the 1 frame. Right. Chest. Yeah. Okay. Now you can do a pass on connecting the hip to the rotation of the chest. For that one, we need like this. And select both those guys. So remember, they go against each other. So basically what I can do actually is copy everything I have here, put it on the left, and just bring it back up. Now they're doing the same thing. All I need to do is just scale it back out the other way so that it's counter. Yeah. So let's just do the right thing. Let's see if you feel it here. If not, we have to. No, we don't feel it here. Actually, the pose maybe it's not the best pose because we only see the chest in our camera. Now let's say we cannot touch the camera. It's already approved by the director. Now we need to pose our backside. You see in the camera, now we're seeing a little bit of it. Even that, it's giving a sense of depth to the shot. Whereas before we only saw the chest, now we see a little bit of hips. And then the rotation overall can be a little bit more than what we have because yeah, it goes to connect it there. And Let's see. Oh, sorry. I forgot to. This guy. So we want to keep the first keys. This is the same. This is the same. This is the same. Okay, you see now, you feel a little bit of hips movement. It's not too much to distract, but it's enough to give some depth and life to the bottom side of the dog. Now, as the last thing I would add for this plugin is this eye dart that we added here, because we didn't see it in the ref. Now this is something we added. Let's say we showed this to director said add more life. We added, now the head doesn't match the eye, because usually most of the time dogs, when they do an eye dart, the head rotation follows the eye dart, even if it's for a little bit. Now here the head is not doing that, so let's see if we can add it here. Go to RY. Here. And come back. Okay. Now it's not enough right now. It's to be a little bit more and a little bit sharper. This first frame is good. Next two frames needs to be a little bit more. Then after it doesn't have to go back. Now the RY is matching the eye dart, but we need a little bit of RX and RZ to break it up, otherwise it's going to be feel CG, like it only in one direction. To do that, we can add a quick dip here in I'm sorry, in RZ. One, and then we raise it back up to here. Okay, now it's working. We need a little bit of RZ to it as well. Maybe the other way. And then usually, now this is usually what happens. There are exceptions. When the head, whichever way the head turn is, usually the RZ of the head leads a little bit. So if I exaggerate it in slow motion, it would be something like, and then it levels out. Something like this. And then when you look at it, boop, it's like that. So keep that in mind. Let's see if something like that would work here. 1, 2, and then level out 3 or 4 frames. Yeah, you see, feel it enough for it to make sense. And then at the end, RC at the end is to go down. Now one thing we didn't add is the ears. Now in the ref, I didn't see too much ear movement, but we have it here now. See, this ear here is changing rotation from that to this, and it's coming toward where the head is turning. It's like that, and then turns and comes toward the head. Now that's something we should add. And then there's a little bit of movement on this ear. Here you see there's a small, like 2 or 3 frame moves. That again is something dogs and cat both have in common. Ears are always hyperactive because they're listening to everything. It's one of their main information gathering ways. And then after it comes to attention to the food, then it looks like they have very little subtle movements, which we can leave for the polish pass. No need to add it now. Cool. Let's see how it's okay. The only part I see still a little bit CG is here, where the head is moving screen left, and there's not much physicality with it. Now, let's see what the ref does. Looks like there's a bounce a little bit in the up and down of the neck. Let's see if that could help us break up this part a little bit. It's here. So we need a bounce, a little bit of bounce. This is too much. This. Ah, yeah, it helped. There you go. Now that part is not doesn't feel too CG because in addition to moving the head moving screen left, we also have a little bit of up and down to it. So even that little bounce helped breaking it up. And then on top of all of this, we don't have a breath control here, but because the chest is occupying a big screen space here, I would add a breathing cycle to the chest. Usually dogs have like 6 frame breathing cycles, so it's much faster than humans. And then also one thing that I forgot to add is the shoulders. When the chest moves side to side, we should see the shoulders react a little bit, so they shouldn't be locked. So that would be something I would write for myself to address in the polish pass. But yeah, like this is like in 2.5 hours more or less, you can block out something. Now here, because we only see the chest, neck, and head and the facial, it's much faster because we don't have to deal with the legs and the feet. But overall, it's I think it's a decent enough blocking pass. So again, it's a combination of layer, pose to pose. Basically, I would just use poses for the beginning and end. Like I would identify each main move, and say, okay, I need one pose here. I look at the ref, pose it out. The next big pose, like the next extreme, and then go from there, and then build the layers on top, which like usually yields the quickest results. For next week, if you guys prefer, now you can continue to work on the lion jump that you had. Oh, Arthur has one. Okay, sorry. Let's check your yeah. But for next week, you can keep working on the jump that you had. However, for the sake of working on dogs, I would suggest if you want, do one cycle for the dogs. Now dogs have like different run cycles. They have like food run, they have the trot, they have the slow walk, they have what they call canter. So if you look at it, you'll see. So one cycle for the dog, and then one close-up like we did today, like mainly chest, neck, and head, and finding an interesting action. Now, I wanted to find something more interesting, didn't have time to find a good ref, but for that close-up of the dog, if you can find something interesting, maybe barking is nice, like picking up a food from the ground is nice. Sometimes they they pick up the food, and then halfway in the middle, the food they want to readjust, and they do like they come up and they grab it and then they eat. That could be something interesting to do. So just if you have the time, that would be a good exercise. Cool. Let's check the jump. Oh, the ending. Very nice. Yeah, that slip and fall at the end is what sells this. Sells like is like the bonus of this shot. Very cool. Did you have these ones we looked at last week, right?
Yeah, I tried addressing the run. I
Ah,
didn't have
cool.
time to address the
Oh,
walk.
this is the new pass.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's true.
cool. Yeah, I would say everything is working now. One thing that I would say is that the head, you see, it's the here when your chest is going up, your head is going up with it. But when you look at the ref, you see if you look at the shoulders and the chest, they are going up, but the head and neck is countering down. Where the eyes, if you look at the eyes, they are staying relatively in the same, like they're going up a little bit with the chest, but here you see in these frames, you see the shoulders and the chest going up, but look at the head, look at the eyes. The neck and the head is countering down, and the reason for that is like with all the predators, they try to keep the head oriented and like locked into the target, to the prey. So even though the body is doing all that, the neck is countering so that the head can remain looking at the boar here. So keep that in mind. Like always look at the relationship between the chest and the head, and what are they doing against each other in your ref to get to be able to put that in your work. So out here, yeah, you see here your head, neck, and chest are raising at the same time from 34 to 37. That's one thing to keep in mind. Also, yeah, here the leg is good. One thing here, keep in mind, is the relationship between the hips and the chest. You see, in this frame, the hips are a little higher than the chest even. You see, so if the chest is here, if you follow the same line, the hips is a little bit higher. Where here, your hip line is here, the chest line is here. So here, your chest is higher than your hips. So it's always good when you're doing your poses to keep in mind to compare where is the hips now? Where is the chest in relation to the hip? Where is the head in relation to the chest? So always check the three main parts against each other. Okay, let's check the jump. Okay, here, like this is a good blocking pass. few main things here for the timing. All the way to here is good. For the drop, you have too many frames. You see here in the ref, it's already like almost the contact. Like we would say, okay, the leg is almost contacting the ground here. Here, your leg is like still, like you have 3 or 4 frames too many from 64 to 75. And because of that, it's a little bit floaty, which again, you can get away with it in the blocking pass, in the first blocking pass. But because it's such an important thing in setting the weight, it's good to address. Another thing is this big leg move here. Would be nice to add it. You see in the ref. Sorry. See, in this here, leg are almost straight. In 3 frames, this leg is like goes into a bent pose. We see only the underside of it. And then it's hard to see here with the motion blur, but here the other leg goes from straight to a bent pose. And then both of them stretch out for the landing. Keep that in mind. And then of course, this at the end is very nice. That you have with the slip. And then let's see how it gets back up. Okay, you didn't black out the getting back up, but it would be nice to add. Now, this, if you want to continue working on this, this would be something you could add to your reel, if you want to polish it out. So this would be a good candidate. You can dress up the scene with a few trees, like put in the ground roughly as you keep working on it, and then you can put a few lights and do a render pass when the animation is complete. So if you want to keep working on it, I would say go for it. Here for this anticipation, feels like you need more poses. You have like only 2 poses going from here to here. But if you check the ref, you see there's a lot happening. Like the head raises. Here the hips go more than the chest, so the body changes a little bit of rotation from this to this, and then the head goes from here, goes straight back a little bit. You see the neck and head is going back as the body is going down. So you need, overall, you need more poses to break up that anticipation that you have. And then take a look here. The head goes straight forward until here, and then goes here, up, and then goes there. So it's like something of that kind of arc. You have it here, which is very nice. Here you need more of it. You see here in the riff, we feel the head and neck going forward. They are moving more than the chest. Here in your animation, you need to exaggerate that more. This is good. I think the place that the feet land here need to be a little bit more in the front. You look at this frame, you see the feet are here, and there's a straight line going through the body. Your line of action is a little bit more rotated this way, which is telling us if the legs would be here. you could straight out the body a little bit more to get a more vertical line of action, like is in the left. Everything in here is very nice. You can do a pass on the tail because the tail is doing one crazy move in the landing. You see here. Here, take a look at the pose of the head and the neck versus what you have here. Looks like the head and neck are rotated away from camera. And the result of that is that you only see a little bit of back of the jaw and a little bit of the ear. Would feel that you would need to rotate your head and your neck away from us so that we would get something like that. See here, we only see a little bit of ear. Everything else is behind the shoulder and the hand. But we don't see much of the head. It's just blocked by that. So yeah, for that pose, take a look, make sure you have it right. And that's all if you want to continue working on this. If not, I would say this is a good blocking pass, and then you can, if you want not to continue, you can just move on to the next exercise. And then for the dog, for next week, let's do something like we did today, but again, let's see if we can find a more interesting ref for the dog, and then go all out on like doing all the little stuff like we did today for the eyebrows, for the eyes, for the mouth, for the ears. If you have the time to add it, would be nice. And then we can check together next week. Cool. Any questions?
Thank
No,
you
yeah.
very much.
Yeah, that all sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool.
Bye bye.